I just realized I've been talking and you couldn't hear me. Well, that is embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah, it happens, it happens. But alas, as I was saying, welcome back to Dante's Purgatorio. There it is. Properties. We just need to get this to the correct... I'm just finishing up setting up one last thing. Ah, there we go. I feel like that might be too big. There we go, there we go. That should work perfectly. However, this time, as I am not as familiar with Dante's Purgatorio as I am with Dante's Inferno, we will not be having a little arrow that points us from place to place. I'm just simply giving the map so we all know that there is indeed a map of this place. But yes, please, sit back, relax, and let us begin. Waves, my ship of mind alive again, hoists sail, and leaves behind its little keel the gulf that proved so cruel. And I'll sing, now, about that second realm, where human spirits purge themselves from stain, becoming worthy to ascend to heaven. Here, too, dead poetry will rise again. For now, you sacred muses, I am yours. So let Calliope, a little, play her part, and follow as I sing, with chords that scrouged the wretched magpies, young girls once, till they despaired of pardon for their insolence. Soft hues of sapphire from the Orient, collecting gently, marked the circles now of sky serene from height to horizon. And this sight, once I left the morbid air, which weighed so heavily on my eyes and heart, began afresh to bring my eyes delight. The lovely planet, strengthening to our love, lit up with laughter all the Orient sky. Willing her escorts, I turned now to the right. I set my mind up on the southern pole, and saw 4 stars that none, save Eve and Adam, ever saw. The heavens, it seemed, rejoiced in these 4 gleams. O widowed North, your name means 7 stars. How great your lack to never look on those. I made my gaze, at last, abandon them, and turning back to glimpse the other pole, from which the wane, already, had gone down. I saw nearby an old man on his own, deserving from the air and look he had of all respect a son might give his sire. The beard he wore was long and flecked that flowed down from his head, falling upon his breast in double braids. The rays that shot from those 4 holy stars adorned his brow with honor, so I saw. His face as clear as if the sun shone there. And who are you, you fugitives who flee across the unseeing stream eternal glowl? He spoke and moved his beard in noble plumes. What lantern led you on, beyond those deepest reaches of the night, that make the veil of hell for every black? The laws of the abyss, do these break down? Our counsels newly changed in heaven's height, so you, the damned, approached my secret hills. My leader took me firmly in his grip, and, urging me with gestures, hands and words to bend my brow and knee in reverence. I do not, of myself, come here, he said. A lady came from heaven, and her prayers led me to help this man and be his guide. But since your will is that the truth he told more fully as to what we are and why, I cannot of my own will say you, nay. This man has yet to see his final night, but through his own stupidity was close, and scarcely had the time in which to turn. Then I was sent, for his sake, as I've said, and found no way to see what he survived, save that which I have set myself to take. I have already shown him all the damned, and mean that he should see those spirits now, who, in your care, themselves seek purity. Too long to say how I have brought him here, but power comes down and strengthens me in this, to lead him on, to see and hear you speak. Is this? Look kindly on his coming, if you will. He goes in search of liberty. All know who gave their heart who gave their life for that. How dear it is. You know yourself, for, dying in that cause, death had, at Utica, no sting for you. Your mortal robe on Judgment Day will shine. The eternal laws are not through us made vain. This man still lives, and Medos binds me not. I'm from that circle where the modest eyes of Marcia, your wife, are seen. Eyes torn, she prays, O sacred breast, you keep her still your own. For love of her, incline to our entreaties. Let us pass through all your 7 realms. I'll take your gracious words to Marcia. If you will grant, we speak of you down there. Once Marcia, he said, so pleased my eyes while I was there, that I, in gratitude, would do for her whatever she might choose. But now she dwells beyond the evil stream, and therefore, by a law in force, since I came out of it, she cannot move me more. Yet if in heaven there is, as you declare, a lady who commands and moves your deeds, fine words aren't needed. Ask it in her name. Go, and around this man now bind a belt, formed from a single rush ground straight and smooth. Then wash his features clean of filth and stains. It cannot be that any eye, still clutched by mist and murkiness, should meet the force of ministers who will come from paradise.
Stacy, what the hell?
Hello, Rexy! Thank you so much for... Let me see. They subscribed for... Thank you so much for the 8th month streak. Hello! Welcome! Sorry about that. I had to quickly go run and take my dogs out. But yes, hello Rexy. Welcome, welcome. You were just in time to join us for Paradiso. Or not Paradiso, this is Purgatorio. Ah, I'm already skipping ahead. Look at me. Around this little island reaches where the breakers beat. All rushes born up by the yielding ooze. No other plant that comes to leaf or grows to form a rigid stem could ever thrive. For none of these could bend to take those strokes. Do not return along the way you came. The sun that rises now will show the way to take this mountain at a gentler rate. So saying, he had gone. Without a word, I rose, and, drawing near to my guide, tight by his side, I set my eyes on him. Vibing while splatting. Nice. That is always the way to do it. That's how I usually do it, is play some video games and, like, listen to things on YouTube. Especially if it's, like, a game that you don't really need to pay attention to the story and you can just, like, chillax and relax to. And he began. Follow my steps, dear son. Let's turn back now from here the level shore. In reaching to its boundaries, slopes down. Dawn was defeating now the last hour sung by night, which fled before it. And far away, I recognized the tremblings of the sea. Alone we walked along the open plain, as though returning to a path we'd lost. Our steps, until we came to that or vain. Then, at a place in shadow, where the dew still fought against the sun, and cooled by breeze, had scarcely yet been thinned out into vapor, my master placed the palms of both his hands, spread wide, lightly and gently on the tender grass, and I, aware of what his purpose was, offered my tear-stained cheeks to meet his touch, at which he made once more entirely clean the color that the dark of hell had hidden. We then came out across an empty shore that never saw its waters sailed upon by any man who knew how to return. There, at another's will, he girded me. And this was marvelous, that, as he chose that simple plant, another like it rose, reborn the instant that he plucked it out. Canto 2. The sun had reached, already, that horizon, the arc of whose meridian at its height covers Jerusalem as daytime ends. And night, which circles opposite the sun, was rising out of gangs with the scales, which leave her hand once she has overcome. So lovely Aurora's cheeks, both red and white, were turning, where I was, to sallow rose as dawn grew older in the eastern sky. We went on walking, still beside the sea, as people do when pondering the road. Their hearts go forward, through their limbs delay. But look, as Mars, surprised, when morning breaks, by thickening vapors glows to burning red, low in the west, above its ocean floor. There now appeared, may I see that once more, a light that came so swift across the sea that nothing else in flight could equal it. And, having briefly drawn my eyes away to ask my Leto what this light could be, I saw it now grown greater and more bright, and then, around it, all appeared to me a something of, I did not know, pure white. And, bit by bit, another under that.
Ooh, get some sip. All right.
Dante? You want me to execute Order 66 on Dante?
I feel like with how often we rip on the dude and just call him like, you know, the religious fanfictionist, I think we already do execute Order 66 on the man.
But yes, let me stretch. Oh. Oh. And I'll correct my posture. Which, oddly enough, I'm actually trying my best to get better posture. I'm actually, like, sitting up straight. I'm not, like, bending down too far over, because I don't feel like I need to be this close to the mic at all times. Unless, you know, you redeem that, and you want me to truly be this close to the microphone, and then I can. Just in case my voice is soothing to you. But honest to God, I don't think I need to do that for an entire book, so I'm trying not to, like, lean over as much. I'm trying to sit up straight, have the book, read into microphone kind of deal. Have it kind of at an angle, so my head might be peeking a little bit down, so that kind of is bad posture, but it's not the worst posture. But yes, let me also get a sip. Ooh. Ooh, boy. Flavored water's hitting hard today. It's decent.
What, like having your head kind of peeking down?
As long as these forced whitenesses seemed wings, my teacher spoke no word. But when he saw and recognized who was this galley man, "Come now," he cried out. "Bend your knees to him. Look there, God's angel. Fold your hands in prayer. Henceforth, you'll meet this kind of minister. You see, he scorns all human instruments. He needs no oar nor any other sail than his own wings to ply these distant shores."
Also Gatorade? No, just flavored water. Just water with like a flavor packet in it.
You see, he holds those upright to the skies, and with eternal peons fans the air. These do not shift as human tresses do. Then, as he comes towards us more and more, that holy board, he seemed the brighter still. My eyes could not, close to, sustain the light. I bent my eyes. He reached the shore. His boat, so swift, so quick, so light, so elegant. No wave could swallow any part of it. Celestial at the stern, the pilot stood. Beatitude, it seemed, inscribed on him, and, ranged within 100 spirits more. En exitu Israel di Agiripto. They sang all this all together in one voice. With all the psalms that's written after this. Then, over them, he made the holy cross, at which they flung themselves upon the shore, and he, as fast as he had come, went off. The crowd that now had remained, it seemed, was strange. Astray there, wondering, looking all around, as people do, assessing what is new. On every side, the sun shot daylight dots. Its well-aimed arrows had already chased the stars of Capricorn from middle sky, by which time these new people raised their brows, saying to us, "If you too know this place, point us the way to go towards the mount." And Virgil answered, "You may think that we possess experience of where we are, but we, like you, are pilgrim foreigners."
I don't usually like those packets because they use like artificial sweetener and it doesn't taste good. That's fair, that's fair. I could listen to this in the background while I go back to sleep. You could. You're just going to dream of Purgatory. Which, honestly, is more peaceful than dreaming of Inferno. And, is kind of the middle ground of not having to dream of biblically accurate angels.
We came a little while before yourselves, taking a different, hard and bitter road. So now the climb will seem to us a game. The souls who were aware, because I breathed, that I was still alive, now blinched in awe, and, wondering at the sight, grew very pale. And, as around some messengers who bears an olive branch in hand, crowds formed to hear the news, none shy to trample to the fore. So these souls, too, stares fixed upon my face, forgetting almost, all so fortunate, to go ahead and make themselves more fine. And one drew forward now, I saw, to me, to take me in his arms with such great warmth it moved me. So I did the same to him. 3 times I locked my hands behind his back. As many times I came back to my breast. Wonder, I think, was painted over me, at which the shadow smiled, and so drew back, while I, pursuing him, pressured further on. Gently he told me I had better stop, and then I knew who this was. So I prayed that he should speak and pause there for a while. His answer came. As first in mortal flesh, I loved you well, so freed. I love you now, and so I stop. But you, why go through here? Casella, I said, my own, I take this course to come once more where I have now arrived. But now you have been robbed of so much time. No one has done me violence, he said, if many times my voyage was denied by him who chooses who he'll take. And when, for his will stands at one with God's just will. Yet truly, for the last 3 months, he's picked in utter peace. Who's ever wished to board, so I, who now had gone back to that shore, where Tiber waters turned themselves to salt, was, in all kindness, taken up by him. He's set his wings back now towards that gorge, since all who don't descend to Archeon, Austrion, will always gather at that river mouth. And I, if no law has robed you of your memory of skill and songs of love, with which you once would calm all my desires, then, if you'd care to, ease my soul a while, for coming here with still its body shape, it is so worn and weary of the way. Love that speaks reasons in my mind to me. So he began, and in a tone so sweet, the sweetness, even now, sounds in my heart. My teacher, I myself and those who'd come along with him, were so content with this that nothing touched the mind apart from that. So there we were, attentive to these notes, entirely still, then calling, suddenly, that stern old man. What's this, malingering souls? What's this neglect? This simply standing here? Go run towards the mountain. Shed that skin which won't let God be manifest to you. Compare when doves, when gleaning grain or weeds, flock all together at their feeding place, with none of their habitual pride at peace. If something they are fearful appears, then suddenly they'll leave that bait behind, assailed by greater worries as they are. In that same way, I saw that fresh new band break off their song and flee towards the cliff, as people do. Not knowing where they'll end, our own departure wasn't much less swift.
I had some actual sun going here, and now I'm realizing the sun is behind the clouds. I am going to go quickly turn on some lights. Leave it to be that the wind and the rain and the snow would block the sun from allowing us to read of our dear Purgatorio. Why are we head petting me? Is it because I just broke into rhyme and was speaking like I was Dante? Okay, now we're getting Potteroo. You put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Fun fact, my current title in Splatoon 3 is Time Traveling Big Sister. Oh, Rexy, you can be my big sister any day. Now we're breaking into flirting. This is not Inferno. I am being sent straight back to hell if I keep talking like this. I see how it is. Posting all of my emotes, including the fact that I have a Potteroo Neo, a free cheer, and then a heart. Hell seems cool. Hell seems cool. I don't know. I mean, hell is pretty chill if you enjoy eternal damnation. So yeah, it is pretty cool. I like hell. I was born there, after all. Dad, Rexy's title was wholesome. Why? Because, as I've talked to Rexy before, if I get the chance to flirt with her, I'm going to flirt with her. It's just how I react with Rexy. It's not my fault that she's adorable, okay? Leave me alone. Sorry, Storm. Sorry, Storm. It's not wholesome. I was about to say, it's not wholesome. I don't think Rexy meant it in a wholesome way. And oh whoa. Oh woo. But Big Sister's wholesome? I mean, yes. If you're not viewing it in the anime way. Instant scar. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Although the suddenness with which they fled disported the rest across the open plain, turning towards the mount where justice probes, I drew the closer to my trusted friend. For how, without him, could I run ahead? And who but he could draw me up that hill? But he, it seemed, was gnawed by self-approach. Such dignity of conscience clear and clean, bitten so keenly by so slight a fault. When once his steps had put aside that haste, that strips the air of honor from our deeds, my mind, till now, tight-reined within itself, in eagerness of purpose broadened out, I gave my sight to meet the rising ground, higher than all that banks towards the skies. The sun that flared behind us, brilliant red, broke now in front of me my silhouette. As rays of light lay resting on my form, I turned around to one side, fearing I had been abandoned there. Seeing ahead of me alone the earth was dark with shade, and he, my strength, strung straight around to say, "Why so dismayed and faithless? Don't you know that I am with you and still guide your steps?" The evening falls where now, within its grave that body lies in which I cast a shade. Napoli has it,
burn from Brindisi, if nothing now is shadowed at my feet. Don't wonder any more than when the rays, the heavens projects don't block each other out. To suffer torments both of heat and chill, the utmost power gives bodies, fit for that, not wishing how it does to be revealed. If madness, if we hope that rational minds should ever follow to its end, the road that one true being in three persons takes. Content yourselves with Croy, humankind. Had you not been able to see everything, Mary need not have labored to give birth. You saw the fruitless yearnings of those men who might have had that yearning satisfied. Now given them eternal to mourn. Plato, I mean, and Aristotle too, and many more with them. He bowed his head and said no more, remaining darkly troubled. We had, meanwhile, now reached the mountain foot, and there we came across the cliff so sheer that legs through willing were quite useless there. Between Fort Larissa and Tobria, the wildest, steepest scarp would be, compared with this, an easy stairway, opening clear. Now who's to know on which side this cliff sinks? So stopping in his tracks, my teacher said, to let us climb, since we had got no wings. And while he went along, his head bent low, examining in thought the journey's scheme. And I, in wonder, gazed around the rock. A tribe of souls appeared towards our left, moving in our direction, though their tread came slow, and so it hardly seemed to us they did. Lift up your eyes. Look, sir, I said to him. There, over there, are some who will give advice, if you, yourself, have nothing to suggest.
I'm a big sister, so I can only think of wholesome things. I'm an only child, so I like to be a big sister and help people out. And use little sister, but I don't have that title yet. Little Rexy. I want to be the little sister so I can call people Oni-chan. Or Oni-chan. Fair, lol. Oh my. You can call me Oni-chan any day, Rexy. I have a funny story about the words Oni-chan and Oni-chan. So, there's a game called Nyoni-chan. Oh my god, I love it. There's a game called oh fuck, what is it called? Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So Tokyo Mirage Sessions has a part where you meet this like lolly fairy. And the lolly fairy calls you Oni-chan. Yeah, oh, the Fire Emblem crossover. Yeah, it's a terrible game. Horrible game. Game is extremely boring as shit compared to normal Fire Emblem games. But it has some fun dialogue. Such as the fact that you meet Tiki. And she's in her lolly form, not her like older goddess form. And when you meet her for the first time, she calls you Oni-chan. And, you know, of course the game puts it out as like Big Brother. So she calls you like Big Brother. And all of the characters are looking at you. And she just goes, oh, am I not allowed to call you that? And you get to choose the option of whether you will allow her to call you Big Brother, or if you just want her to call you by your name. And every time I've chosen to have her call me by Big Brother, and every single person in that room looks so disgusted, and it makes me laugh my ass off every time I've played the game. Because, like, you just are like, yeah, you can call me Big Brother, and everybody just looks at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck? And it's just like, listen up, you little shit. shits. If I have a lolly calling me Oni-chan, I'm okay with this shit. Fuck you. Fuck all of y'all fuckers in this room. This is my dialogue choice, not yours. It is like the funniest moment in the game. Oop. Yep. Oop indeed.
He looked across, his face now free from doubt, and answered, "Let's go there. They come so slow. And you, dear son, be confident. Take heart. Those people, when we'd gone 1,000 steps, was still, I'd say, as far away from us as someone with a sling might reach by hand. When one and all they clung to that hard mass of towering rock, and stood there firm and tight, as travelers, uncertain, glance about. You chosen ones, who met your end so well, I ask you," Virgil started, "by that peace which, as I think, is waiting for you all, please tell us where the mountain angles down to make it possible for us to climb. For those who know the most hate time lost. As silly sheep come edging from their fold, 1, 2, and 3, though rest all standing there, timidly turning earthwards eyes and snouts, to do exactly what the first one does, huddling against her if she hesitates, quiet and meek, not knowing where they do. So, too, I now saw moving out to me the forward markers of that happy flock, modest in look and dignified in walk." Maybe Neoni-chan will be your new nickname like V-kun. Oh my god, I love it. Neo is dad, though. I'm your dad, but I never adopted Rexy, because it would be very weird to adopt Rexy since I flirt with her so often. When those towards the front saw shattered light, falling at my right hand towards the ground, so that, from me, the shadow reached the cliff, they stopped and drew themselves a little back. Likewise the rest that followed on from them, not knowing why they did the very same. You need not ask. I freely will confess that what you see are truly human limbs. That is why the sunlight on the earth is split. Don't wonder at the sight, but just believe that, not without some virtue from the skies, does he attempt to overcome this wall. So said my teacher, and these honored folk replied, turned back, go on ahead of us, and signaled this to us with hands reversed. And one of them began, whoever you, this going on your way, may be, turn round and say if you have ever seen me there. I turned to him and fixed him with my gaze. Fair-haired and handsome with a noble look. A sword stroke, though, through, had cut across his brow. And all humanity I then denied, that I, till then, had seen him. Look, he said, and pointed at a wound high on his chest. Then smiling, I am Manfred, he declared, grandson to Constance, holy empress. I pray you, therefore, when you've once returned, seek out my lovely daughter, who has borne the honored crowns of Sicily and Aragon. Tell her the truth, whatever else is said. I, broken in my person, had received 2 mortal wounds, and, weeping, gave myself to him, who, freely, cares to pardon us.
Why were the sheep edging? Horny sheep. Oh god, the horny sheep are doing No Nut November and are just edging themselves. They're not allowed to come.
My sins and crimes were horrible to hear. God, though, unending is good. His arms enfold and grasp at all those who turn to him. And if Consenza's pasture, who was sent to hunt me down by Clement, then our Pope, had read aright the face God turned to mine, my body's bones would still be where they were, near Benevito where the bridgehead falls, guarded by that great crane of heavy stones. The rain now bathes them, and they're moved by wind, beyond the kingdom down the green stream's bank, to which he carried them with torches dimmed. No one, whilst hope shows any hint of green, is lost beyond returnal to love eternal. Mostly because the church has voiced its curse. It is, however, true that those who die, although repent, in contempt of church, are bound to stay outside this mountain wall, some 30 times the span of years that they presume to stand apart. If this decree is not made shorter by good works of prayer, now see if you can bring me happiness, revealing to my Constance that you've seen where I am now, and understand this ban, for here we greatly gain from those down there. Regular reminder that NNN was started by alphas and incels. Oh, yeah. I just like making jokes about it. It's not like I participate in that shit. Like, listen. I may be asexual, but every now and then, there is that urge, and it's just like, alright, sure. I could just deal with it. Or, I'm all alone, in my room. Alright, quickly get it one done, diggity done, and then move on with the day. Let's go! Let's go! I don't know why it deserved an applause. I just feel like it deserved an applause. Some applause and some... Oh, baby! Let's go! Anyways, I am going to go and grab a little bit more water, and then we will return with Canto 4. I have returned with more drink. And let us begin once again on our journey through Purgatorio. Canto 4. When through enjoyment, or indeed through pain, which takes possession of some inner strength, the soul is gathered up around that alone. It can't, it seems, pay heed to other powers. And this refutes the error that maintains the soul ignites in us in its multiples. When something, therefore, that is heard or seen holds in its thrall the lower act of soul, time passes by and we don't notice it. For these are different powers, the one that hears, the one residing in the total soul. The first, let's say, is bound, the other free. I had my own experience of this, hearing that spirit, marveling at his words. For now the sun, although I had not seen, had risen fully 5 times 10 degrees when we arrived where all these souls, as one, cried out to us, "It's here, what you demand." A farmer, when the grapes are growing dark, with one scant forkful of his hedging thorn, will often stuff a wider gap than this. That corridor through which my lord and guide now climbed, I followed behind, alone, since all the company by now had gone. San Leo you can scale, edge down to Noli, climb to Bismantova, ascend Kakum. Feet serve you there, but here you need to fly. With quickening wings, I mean, and pinions of great desire, behind that leading on, that offers me all hope and gives me light. We scrambled through the board of scattered rock, on every side its edges tightened around. The ground beneath us called for feet and hands, and when we reached the rim above that cliff, and came to where the slope was opening out. "What path, sire," I inquired, "shall we take now?" And he to me, "Don't let your footsteps slide on this mount until some escort comes who knows the way." The summit was so high, it conquered sight. The slope stood proud, its incline far more steep than, point to center, 45 degrees. I was all in, and so began to say, "Look round, my dearest father. Turn and see. If you don't stop, I'm stuck here all alone." And he said, "Son, just drag yourself up there," his fingers pointing to a ledge beyond that ran around the flank of that sheer slope. His words so stirred me to renewed attempts. I forced myself to track him, hands and knees, till that encirclement was at my feet. And there we came and sat, the two of us, turned to the east where we had made our climb, for looking back will often cheer you up. I set my eyes on, first, the shores below, then raised them to the sun, and was amazed to see its light assail us from the left. The poet noticed that I stood struck dumb, so stupefied to see light's chariot. Process between us and the Aquilian. If Castor, he replied, and Pollux were now standing in conjunction with the glass that draws its mirror's light both north and south. You then would see the rose-red zodiac wheel steer more lightly round the Ursa stars, so long as it's not left its former track. And if you need to get your mind around that, imagine Zion, harvest that within, and how that mountain stands upon the globe, so that, though set in different hemispheres, the same horizon bounds that mountain this, from which you'll see, if you think clearly now, the road where Frantion had no skill to drive was bound to travel north of that midline, and south, conversely, of Jerusalem. "Oh, sire," I said, with such great certitude I'd never seen as clearly as I do. I'd not intelligence enough for that. How that mid-circle of supernal force, in certain texts termed equatorial, which always stands between the sun and chill, veers for the reason that you gave, as far towards the northern climb of 7 stars, as Hebrews see it bend to warmer parts. But, if you please, this slope climbs higher by far than eyes of mine can go, and this mountain is by nature such that, down below, the start is always hard, yet hurts far less the more one rises up. And so when you will find the going smooth, floating as lightly upwards in ascent, as boats that travel down a flowing stream, you'll then have reached the end of this rough path. Await that point to rest your weariness. I'll say no more. I know the truth of this. The moment he had finished speaking so, a voice rang out close by us. Well, perhaps you'll need a good sit-down before you do. On hearing this, we both of us turned round and saw, towards our left, a bulky rock, of which at first we'd neither been aware. Gonna take a sip of October Summer. Oh. Spicy water. We drew ourselves across. Some persons there were sitting in the shadows of that stone, in postures, one might say, of negligence. And one of those, who seemed to me worn out, was sitting with his arms around his knees, holding his face bowed heavily between. "My dearest lord," I said, "just look at him. At that one there who seems more negligent than if his sister were pure indolence." At this he turned a bit, to pay us heed, moving his cheek to look along his thigh. "All right," he said, "head up, you big, strong lad." I knew then who he was. All the aches that made my breath still come a little fast could not prevent me from approaching him. I reached him, and he hardly raised his head, saying, "You've seen now, have you, how the sun leads to the left its chariot at your back?" Lava? What about lava? There is no lava. Spicy water. Oh! Yeah, I'm just drinking some lava. It's spicy water. No. It was just that I took too big of a sip of the water, and whatever flavor packet I put in it, I think it's called Cool Breeze Blue or something. It just was a little strong, so it made me cough. And so that's why I was like, oh man, spicy water. His court expressions and his sluggish turns had moved my lips a little to a smile. Belacroix, I began, I need not now grieve for you any longer, but say why you are sat down here. You are waiting for a guide, or you are back again to your old ways? Brother, he said, what point in going up? God's angel, sitting at the gate up there, would not admit me to the penances. The heavens must circle first around me here, the length of time they did around my life, since I delayed good sighs until my end. Unless before that, prayer has brought me aid, rising on high from hearts that live in grace. What else, since heaven won't hear, is any use? The poet now was climbing further on, saying, Come, come, the high meridian look is touched by sun along the western shore. The foot of night is falling on Morocco.
Impromptu stretch. Okay.
Canto 5. Already some way past the shadow folk, I climbed still onward in my leader's track, until, below us, one of them burst out. See that? A finger pointing long. The one behind, no sunray shines, it seems, towards his left. And doesn't he behave as though alive? On hearing these sharp words, I turned my eyes, and saw them gazing in astonishment. At me, yes me, and the broken sunlight. Why let your thoughts get tangled up like that? My master speaks. It only slows your stride, and why be bothered by their whisperings? Keep close behind me, let them say their say. Stand straight, a mighty tower unwavering. Its height unshaken by such breaths of wind, when thought is bred too rampantly from thought. Then, of himself, a man who will miss his mark. Each mental thrust debilitates the first. What answer could I offer, save I come? I said so, sprinkled by that blushing hue that, on occasion, means we merit pardon. Meanwhile, across the angel of our climb, there now appeared ahead another group, intoning verse by verse the Miserere. But when they saw my limbs would not allow a thoroughfare to any ray of light, they changed their chanting to a long hoarse "Oh." Then two, who acted as their nunces, hurried to meet us with the urgent plea. What is your standing here? Please, let us know. My master answered, You may now return and bear to those who sent you to this reply. This man and body is true flesh and bone, and if, as I suppose they did, they stopped because they saw that shade those words would serve, let them all honor him, he'll pay them well. Vapors, when kindled in night's early hours, flash across tranquil skies like meteors, and August clouds are cleft by setting suns. Yet none I've ever seen went up as quick as these two messengers. who turned, once there, with all the rest to us, a horde in rampage. They'll come in multitudes, the poet said, and mill around and pester you for prayers, so listen as you go, but still press on. You there, that soul now set for happiness, they yelled their greeting. With your limbs intact as ever you were born, slow down a bit. Look, is there anyone you've seen before? You might, if so, bear news of them beyond. Ah, where to now? Ah, why don't you stand still? We all were victims of some violent death, yet sinners till we reached our final hour. Then heaven's light dawned and made us see things clear, so that, repenting and forgiving all, we came from life remade at peace with God, who heartens our desire to see him still. I stared into your eyes, I answered them, and I recognized no single one. Yet you are spirits born anew to God, and all you wish and I can do, I shall. Please say, I swear this by the peace that leads me on from world to world, pursuing this great guide. One second, my dog wants out again. All right. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm going to try standing a little bit. Then one began. You need not swear to that. Granted your will is not cut short by cant. That sounded fine to me? All right, perfect. Each of us trusts that you will bring some good. May I, who will only speak till others do, entreat you, if you've seen those lands that lie between Romagna and the realm of Charles, that you, in all your kindness, pray for me, Infino, so entreaties offered there, may give me strength to cleanse my grievous sins. I was from Fano, but the hollow wounds from which the blood by which I lived ran down, were dealt me by the Antinorians. I thought my safety was, with them, assured. The Estes got it fixed, their spite to me exceeding all that justice could require. If only I had fled towards Lamira. They caught me as I ran to Oriaca. My place would be where men breathe, even now. Towards the marsh I ran, where, brackish needs entwining me, I fell, watching as, in this mire, a lake spread outwards, forming from my veins. May your desires be met, another spoke, that draw you to the mountain height. Then please, take pity, in your goodness aid my own. I am once Montefeltrin, now Broncante Giovanni, does not pray for me. None cares. And so, among all these, I walk, brow lowered. No one has ever known, I said, your place of burial? What led you, chance, or was it force, away at Campaldino from the kill? Ah, he replied, a stream, the Arciano, runs across the lower Castino hills, born above Hermitage in Apennine. I'd get to where this river's title fails, fleeing on foot and wound in my throat, a line of blood behind me on the plain. And now I lost my sight, and all my words ended in uttering Maria's name. I fell, my flesh alone remaining there. But tell the living this, I'll speak the truth. God's angel laid his hands on me. Hell shrieked, why do you rob me, heaven's spawn, of this? You'd prize him from me for one little tear and carry off his everlasting part? Well, I'll rule otherwise the other half. Humid evaporations, as you know, collect in air, then, rising to the grip of freezing air, returning to earth as rain. There now arrive the evil Orge, who seeks in mine for nothing if not ill. And stored, through powers its natures gives wind, murk, and fog. And when the light of day had been put out, he draped the veil in clouds from Pratomagno to reach the summit of the mountain range, and made the skies condense till gravid air was turned once more to water. Whatever earth refused to bear ran off in tunnels, and when these streams and torrents were conjoined, these rushed towards the Sovon River course, with such a great speed that nothing held them back. The Arachiano, Phileas, and Spate had found in my body, at its outlet, rigid chill. It drove this to the Arno, losing there, across that, lost in agony, my arms had formed. From bank to riverbed, it swirled me around, then wrapped and hid me in its muddy spoil. When you return, pray heaven to the world, and, having rested from long traveling, with these few words, a third soul joined the group. Please remember me. I am Lapia. Sienna made me, unmade by Marima, and he knows this who, once I wore his ring, took me in marriage with his own bright gem. Oh! The book fell. I tried to set it down and take a drink of water, and the book was like, yeet. Oof. It's trying to run away, lol. It's like, I don't want to be read any longer. Stop reading Dante. What are you doing to yourself? Why would you cause yourself this pain? You know what that man believed in. He believed unbaptized babies went to hell. And the book itself is just like, I need to run away. I know what I'm about. Oh my god, I'm playing the Pokemon trading card game and this person has the name I'm Nurse Joy Bitch. He's trying to keep something from getting out. Why is bitch not censored? Because it's I'm Nurse Joy Bitch. Like, come on, bitch. It's just speaking like Jesse Pinkman from the critically acclaimed, award-winning show Breaking Bad. The show about a science teacher who sells blue crystal meth. Honest to God, the Breaking Bad memes are like some of my new favorites because Breaking Bad's like a good show.
Like, but at the same time, the memes just make it even better. Like, something about how, like, everybody who makes memes for, like, Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad just seem unhinged. Like, all of the memes just seem completely batshit insane. They're making a new one, but it's taking a while. A new trading card game or a new Breaking Bad? I would be very confused if they made a new Breaking Bad. Does the cycle just repeat? Now it's Jesse Pinkman with the cancer, and now he's gonna have to go teach a bunch of kids how to make meth, and then he ends up causing a bunch of people to die, and then dies from cancer at the end. And then, you know, his apprentice then does the same, gets cancer, sells meth, repeat and recycle. The cycle just continues on. New Pokemon trading card game? Okay, I thought that's what you meant. I just wanted to, you know, double check. Breaking Bad 2. Gotta catch 'em all. Jesse, I'm playing the new Pokemon game, and we gotta catch them all, Jesse. Jesse, I'm no longer cooking meth. All I need is a Pikachu in my life, Jesse. Jesse, I found a shiny Pidgeotto. What do I do? Why is it shiny? Do I catch it? Jesse, I need your help. The Elite Four are kicking my ass. What do I do? Jesse, we need the cook again. I need the new Pokemon game, but I don't have $60. We need to cook more meth. Man, this Jesse Blank reminds me of Rick and Morty impressions. Oh, gee, Rick. Rick, I don't know if I'm ready for this, Rick. Oh, gee, Rick. Oh, gosh. Talking like Morty. Jesse, I'm gonna need you to take this and shove it all the way up your butt, Jesse. Jesse, you don't understand. We gotta smuggle these through the airport. If you don't shove the crystal meth up your anus as far as you can push it, and squeeze that anus tight, then we're not going to get on this plane, Jesse. And how are we supposed to make it so that our product gets sold? You don't understand, Jesse. It's for the good of the business. But no, I think like one of the easiest impressions is like Morty's voice. Like, you can't get it, I can't get it as raspy as whoever voices Morty does, but something about Morty's voice is just super easy, because basically just think of like the most like pathetic human on the earth. Like, just try and sound like you are the most pathetic person, and that is Morty. Like, Morty just constantly sounds like he is 3 seconds away from ending it all. And that's basically, like, how Morty sounds to me, like, the entire show. Canto 6. When punters split off from some gambling game, the loser stays behind, all misery.
to check the throes once more, and, sadly lorn, while with the winner all the rest go off. Some buttonhole the man, some pluck his tails, and some his sleeves. Just think of me, they mean. Though, hearing each of them, he does not pause. His hands fend all away to make them stop. So he defends himself from this great press. Well, that was me, in that dense crowd of souls, turning my face to this side, then to that. By promising each one, I got away. Heisenberg tells Jesse how to smuggle drugs clipped and shipped. Oh, God, that is beautiful. That is a beautiful clip. His hands fend all away to make them stop, so he defends himself from this great press. Well, that was me in that dense crowd of souls, turning my face to this side, then to that. By promising each one, I got away. The Eretine was there who met his end at vicious Jean Di Taco's scything arm. He too, who, running with the hunt, had drowned. And here as well, with hands stretched out in prayer, was Frederick Novello and that Pisan man, who made the clan Mozuko's power appear. I saw Count Orso, and the man whose soul was severed from his limbs. So he declared, by spite and envy, and no crime of his. I mean Pierre Lebrosse, and while still there, just let the Lady of Brabant, lest she be heard with the worst for that, take care. As soon as I got free from all these shades, who went still praying for another's prayer to speed them on their way to holiness. I thus began. It seems that you, my light, deny overtly in a certain text that prayers can ever bend what heaven dictates. I have failed 5 coin flips in a row. Oof. That's brutal. Coin flips can very much either be good or bad. They are literally like the greatest thing of 50-50 chance, because there's a 50% chance it's going to screw you and a 50% chance it's not going to screw you. And then there's like God, who is just up above going, nah, just change it into a 100% chance it'll screw you each time. That is a coin flip for you. And yet, these folk are praying just for that. Could it then be the hopes they have are vain? Or is it that your words aren't clear to me? And he to me, the words I write are plain. And yet, if you look closely with sane thought, he hope that these all have will never fail. God's justice, at its summit, does not sink, because, in one sharp point, the fire of love completes what those who dwell here expiate. So, in the passage where I made this point, no flaw would ever be redeemed by prayer, but prayer was then not linked or joined to God. Yet do not, truly, let your question rest until the one who will come as light between your intellect and truth declares you may. I don't know if you take my sense, I mean Beatrice. You'll see her up above smiling in all her happiness, on the crest. My lord, I said, let's move with greater haste. I'm not as wearied as I was before. And look, the mountains casting shadow now. While daylight lasts, he answered me. We'll press our way as far ahead as we still can. But things have not the shape that you suppose. Before you reach that height, you'll see return the one who now is hidden by the ridge. So you cannot, now, break the light he sheds. But over there you see a soul alone, placed there who stares across at us. This one will teach us what's the quickest way. We came towards it, O you Lombard soul. How proud you stood, how haughty in your look, your moving eyes so grave and dignified. The soul did not say anything at all. It let us make our way, still looking on, as hunting lions do that pause and couch. But Virgil went across to him, and asked that we be shown a better path to climb. To this request, the soul made no reply. About our origins, our towns and lives. He questioned us. My thoughtful guide began. Montoy, the shade, so dark cowled, sunk within, rose up towards him from where first he'd been, saying, You Manthroin, I am Sir Diallo, your fellow citizen, in each round each flung arms. You, vile Italia, sorrow's resting place. You hulk that no one steers through raging storms, no sovereign lady, you're a cat-house whore. That noble soul was moved with such great speed to greet his fellow citizen, to hear, no more than that, the sweet sound of their home. Yet those who live within your boundaries stand nowhere free of war. Each gnaws the next, all locked together by one wall and moat. Search hard, you wretch, round all your ocean shores, then towards your heart, and try to see if any of its parts rejoice in peace. Why should Justinian have formed your reins? What use is that? The saddle's riderless. The shame would be far less were there no curb. You people, if you'd only understood what God intends, you'd be more severant, and let the saddle be great Caesar's seat. Just look how fierce and cruel the beasts become. No sport set it on its proper course. Since you, Italia, took the bridle up, you German Albert, you abandon her, so hard to handle now, untamed and wild. You who stood still astride her saddle bows. May justice from the stars fall, rightly down on your tribe's blood. May that come strange and clear, to make your here feel all the dread of it. Held back in Germany by raging greed, your father did, as you now, tolerate the empire's garden to lie desolate. Come, see the Montoigs and Capulets, Manaldi, Flippeschi, reckless men, some plunged in misery, and some in fear. Come, cruel man, and see the great distress of all your nobles. Cure them of their warts. You'll see how Santo Fier is eclipsed. They made a Pokemon of a lot of people who don't care about really strong, yeah. Cute Cactus deserves more fans. I agree, cute cactuses are great. I think I'm going to turn down the heat. Cute cactus. Let's see. Oh, that thing is adorable. Oh, that is super cute and adorable. Like,
despite the fact that it probably has like thorns and everything, I just want to kind of like pet it underneath its chin. Like give it a little pet underneath the chin. Not me binging Gravity Falls at 1 a.m. I mean, why wouldn't you be doing that, Jelly? That sounds bitchin'. That sounds fun as hell. Also, hello, Jelly. Welcome, welcome. And I don't blame you at all. I was up at 2 in the morning, Saturday. On Saturday morning at like 2 a.m., I was up drinking and playing Sega bass fishing. So trust me, you watching Gravity Falls at 1 a.m., that makes a lot more sense than getting drunk at 2 in the morning playing Sega bass fishing. $106 base special attack is pretty good, actually. That is very good. Come now and see that realm of yours in tears. Widowed and lonely, day and night she weeps. Say why, dear Caesar, you're not with me now. Come now and see the love between these folk. And if no pity for us makes you move, come, be ashamed to know what name you've won. And if, great Jove, once crucified for us, it is permissible for me to say, then why are your just eyes now turned elsewhere? Or is all this a preparation formed within the chasm of your wisdom for some good cut off completely from our power to see? In Italy, the cities are all full of petty despots. Every country lout who joins a gang is rebel Merculus. Dear Florence, you may well content yourself with this parenthesis, which can't touch you. All thanks, of course, to your so brilliant crew. Many, through true at heart, are slow to shoot. For fear, without advice, they'd wash the bow. But your lot tongue tip justice all the time. Many refuse to take on public tasks. But your lot, so solicitous, unasked reply with shouts. Let me, up for that. Look happy now, you've ever reason to. Rich as you are, at peace, and oh so wise. The outcome does not hide that I speak true. Athens and Lacedaemon, which first made the ancient law, and were so civilized, made, as to living well, the faintest mark, compared to you who make such delicate provisions in your laws that what you spin won't reach from mid-October to November's end. How many times within your memory have you, renewing all your limbs, transformed duties and laws and coinage and customs? And if you'll know yourself and see the light, you'll see how like you are to some sick hag, who finds no comfort on her feather bed, but shields herself from pain with every squirm. Honestly, Paradiso so far is a lot easier to read than Inferno. However, Inferno was a lot more interesting, and I can see why people say Paradiso is extremely boring. Cause so far, like Inferno was just straight up like, all right, let's get in, start describing people being tortured. This one's like, oh yeah, look upon these destroyed towns. Man, I like Athens and Rome. Man, it's a shame that what happened to them happened to them. Man, remember how Caesar was sitting on a white throne? Yeah, that guy's a cool guy. I like Caesar. Remember this guy? Man, here he is now. Remember this? Well, it's here now. Remember, like, oh, what's that you kind of sinned? Well, don't worry. Sit down. Take a breather. You're in purgatory. You'll be blessed of your sins soon enough. Like, this one is just very much more just kind of like, don't worry. Everything's fine. This sounds like Ready Player One, but for Greek history. It's because it basically is. This is the greatest biblical fan fiction ever written. We've got, as I was making the joke, we've got Christian gods, we've got Greek gods, we've got Romans, we've got Athens, we've got Spartans, we've got... I'm pretty sure even Muslim gods showed up at one point. I'm pretty sure Jewish gods showed up at one point. Basically, take anything that was like a thing back in the 1300s and just put it in a pot, grab a spoon, mix that pot up, maybe put a little bit of chicken flavoring in there, and just sip it. Given Rome and Athens are still thriving cities, I wonder how many ancient cities lost to time for millennia one might find in Purgatory. Probably quite a few. Because, like, I think it was, like, back in the 1300s. Let me look this up. Back in, like, the 1300s, I'm pretty sure the cul-de-sac from Ed and Eddie, aren't the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim gods the same god of Abraham? You might be speaking the truth. I don't know. I might be really interested in like religion, but there's sometimes things I forget. History of Rome. 1300 first Jubilee proclaimed by Pope. So yeah, I think the reason why he kind of declares Rome as like a place in purgatory is because, if I remember correctly, Rome was going through a time of a pope change, and that's why he wrote Inferno in like the Divine Comedy, because Dante believed in one pope versus the pope that actually came to be. So his version of Rome basically died when his pope got excommunicated from the church. Apparently we're doing exactly as the Pope wants us to, though, right now. The nowadays Pope apparently wanted people to read Dante's The Divine Comedy, which is kind of funny to me. Like, here we are because I just enjoy the book and I enjoy the story and I enjoy the history behind it, because the history's fucked up, the story's fucked up. It's basically just depression, and that works for me. But it's kind of funny that apparently the Pope actually said, hey, you should read Dante's Inferno and like Dante's Divine Comedy because it'll inspire you. I don't know how much inspiration I'm supposed to take from Dante here. Apparently you spend less time in purgatory if you follow him on Twitter. Remember, kids, if you follow the Pope on Twitter, he will bless you of all your sins, especially the ones that you've committed on Twitter, which, let's all agree, we've committed several sins on Twitter. Twitter is just the most sinful place. That's why it's a hellhole. That's why I love it there. I don't truly love Twitter, but Man, is it a fun place to be. I expect that people of the 2700s will look upon the 21st century as quizzical as we look upon the 14th century. Oh, for sure. Like, I can imagine people will, like, go, like, people in, like, the 2700s will look back at, like, shows that we made or, like, books that we wrote, and they'll just be like, what the fuck were these people on? What the fuck were they on about? The fuck is a clown? Why the hell is there a clown eating people? That's fucking stupid. They fought wars and let people die over this thing called money, which is all made up. Yeah, they fought wars and let people die over this thing called money, which is all made up. Yeah, like, hold on, you mean to tell me back then they were printing money and they weren't just, you know, buying things? It's fucking stupid. That's stupid. Then we look upon, like, the 1400s and we're like, wait, hold on a minute. They truly thought that unbaptized babies went to hell? Are they insane? Oh, one of their biggest, like, sins they considered was, like, two dudes being in love? But weren't the Romans just constantly having gay sex? Oh, they just ignored that part. Oh, okay. Good to know. How did they think Facebook or Twitter was a good idea? No, I'm implying they live in a post-scarcity society where money doesn't exist. Fair. How did they think Facebook or Twitter was a good... Yeah. Hold on. They let a lizard person make a social media account, a media place for them? Even we don't trust the lizard people. Why would they let a lizard person do that? They let some rich billionaire dude who was, like, crazy about rocket ships take over Twitter? That's fucking stupid. What the fuck are they on? I like to imagine that 2700s will be a lot more peaceful. But at the same time, part of me feels like the 2700s will just be a bunch of people who are like, man, we're on a dying planet. This planet is dead. We should have moved to Mars when we had the chance, and it'll just become Total Recall, where most people are on Mars, while then everybody else is on Earth, and Earth is just a dying planet. Anyways, planet will be uninhabitable before 2700? Oh, okay, well, there you go. Anyways, let us finish reading Canto 7, and then I believe we shall call it here. Canto 7. 3 or 4 times, with solemn happiness, the welcome each gave, each had been renewed, till drawing back, Sordello said, "Who are you?" Before the time that souls returned, when fit, in dignity, for God to this great moment. My bones were buried by Octavian. I am Virgilus, and for no crime, save lack of faith, I lost the heavenly sky. This was the answer that my lord then gave, like someone on the sudden who, before his eyes, sees what he can't help marveling at. Can't credit it, but does, and says, "It is, it's not." So did Sordello, and he bent his brow. Then, turning back to Virgil, flung once more his arms around where inferiors embrace. "You glory of the Latin race," he said. "Through you our tongue was shown in what it could do, external honor of where I once was. What merit or what grace shows you to me, if I am fit to listen to your words? Say, if you come from hell, what cloister's yours? Through all the circles of the grieving realm I've come," he answered him, "and now I'm here. A power in heaven first moved me, so I come. Through nothing I had done but what I'd not.
my sight lost that great sun that you desire. Known too belatedly in time for me. There is a place down there not grim with pain, but only with sad shades, whose deep laments sound not as screams but melancholy sighs. I take my place with children, innocent in whom the bite of death set lethal teeth, before they'd been made free of human sin. And there I stay with all who were not clothed in those three holy virtues, though I knew, and guiltless followed all the other four. But give us, if you know and can, some signs so we can come more quickly to the place at which the proper purgatory begins. He answered, No fixed ground is given us. I'm allowed to travel up and around, as far as I can go. I'll be your guide. But look, the day by now is going down, and none by night can ever make the climb. Better think of some good resting place. There are, towards the right, souls hidden here. I'll lead you on to them, if you agree, and you'll not want for pleasure knowing them. But how is that? The answer came. Would those who wish to make ascent at night be checked by someone else, or simply lack the power? So Dello drew his finger on the ground, saying, That, good man. There. You see that line? You could not cross it once the sun was down. Not, though, because there's anything to bar your going up, save shadows of the night. It's that which knots the will and powerlessness. We could, of course, descend and walk below, and while the four horizons keep day shut, wander and take a turn around the coast. My lord then, as though wondering at these words, replied, So lead us on to where, you say, it's possible to linger in delight. The fucking world, Mars gets nicer, Earth gets worse, they meet in the middle somewhere, somehow, and everything just shrugs. Oh, yeah, yep, sounds about right. We'd only gone a little way from there when, so I saw, the mountain hollowed out. As here, our valleys hollow earthly hills. Just over there, the shade now said to us, We'll go to where the cliff has formed a lap, and there await the coming of new days. Slanting between the level and the steep, a tight path led us to the dale's low edge, the bank's rim here diminishing to half. Gold, finest silver, cochineal, white lead, indigo, ebony polished to a sheen, the freshest emeralds when they've just been split. Each in pure color would be overcome by all the flower and grasses in that fold, as by the greater any lesser is, nor had great nature worked in paint alone. She also, with 1,000 perfumes, wrought a sweetness never known and indistinct. Salve Regina, on the flowering greens, the souls I saw, not seen beyond the veil, all sat together as they sang this hymn. Until what little sun remains nest down, the Manthroin who led us there began. Don't ask me to escort you down to them. You'll better see by staying on this ledge the faces, looks, and gestures of these kings, than if you'd been perceived within their glade. The one who's seated highest, and, in look, neglected what his proper duty urged, and does not move his lips while others sing, was Rudolph who, as emperor, could have healed the wounds that did Italy, to death, so that no others will revive her soon. The next who seems to offer him support, ruled in that country, where those waters rise that bear to Albi the Mulde in Elbe to sea. His name was Atakar, a better prince, even when baby clothed, than Winklis, his son, who, bearded, grazed on lust and ease, and with that one button-nosed, who seemed so caught in conversation, but the kind-faced man died, fleeing as he stripped the lily flower. Look at him, how he pounds on his own breast, and see the next who spread his palm to form a bed on which to lay his sighing cheek. Father these are, and in law to the Ile of France, his vicious, filthy life they knew, and hence the grief transfixing each alike. And that lord there, the Burley type, who sings in concert with the one of the manly nose, bore as his knightly belt all worth and strength. And if that young boy sitting at his back could still, succeeding him, have been the king, true merit would have flowed from urn to urn, which none could argue of his other heirs. But James and Frederick rule his kingdom now, and no one holds his better heritage. It seldom happens that man's probity will rise through every branch. He wills it thus. So, given from beyond, it's known as his. These words go out to that one with the nose, no less than to Pierre, who sings with him, whom Puglia and Provence already mourn. The tree is that much less than its own seed, as Constance can applaud her husband more than Margaret and Beatrice can. See there the monarch of the simple life, Henry of England, sitting all alone. He and his branches them lower on the ground is Marquis William, looking to the heights for him. The wars of Alessandria make Canavis and Montferrat weep. Oof. All right. And we will begin with Canto 8 on next Sunday. Ugh. Hopefully everybody's all right with each. I'm thinking each reading stream is only going to be like 2 hours long. We'll see how many chapters we can read between, 2 hours. Can we get abducted by aliens? I mean, yes, but they might probe your anus. But if you're into butt stuff, then 100% you can get, abducted by an alien. I mean, like, at that point, the alien's not even, like, probing you or hurting you. You're just consenting to it. You're, like, giving the, like, you're just basically telling them to go wild, Why do they probe the anus? Don't know. I never could figure that out. Maybe someone online can tell me. Why do aliens probe the anus? Dryber's work. Oh. Okay. Apparently the reason why anus probing from aliens became a thing was because of the writer called Whiteley Stryber. Why does this sound like a reason made up by a guy that had drunk anal explained why his anus is a... No, apparently it's because of a dude who did a science fiction novel back in like 1978, I want to guess.
Yeah. So, like, apparently, like, back in 1978, this dude wrote a book about, like, shapeshifters and aliens, and then in it, a person says how they get probed by an alien in the anus, and everybody just immediately took that and was just like, that is what aliens do now. Aliens now probe people in the bum.
But let us see, who can we raid on into? Oop. You know what? I think this is who we'll raid into. We're reading Purgatorio, and I'm a demon lord, so it feels only right for me to send you over to an angel. You know, transfer of the demon traveling through Purgatorio, and I'm transferring you now to an angel. It just feels appropriate. That, and because they're playing the new Call of Duty, which I've heard is actually really freaking good. And, you know, might as well go check out the new Call of Duty, right? The new Call of Duty. But anyways, let's see. Our raid message shall be... Demon through Purgatorio raid. Yeah. I like that. Go to the Demon through Purgatorio raid. But yes, thank you so much everyone for coming. I hope you all had a wonderful time. And next Sunday, we shall be continuing the story. So this Sunday, like most Sundays, it'll be at like early. It'll be like an early stream. But some Sundays, like every other Sunday, it will be a later in the afternoon stream. So, you know, sometimes it'll be like an early morning Sunday church session, while versus then a later on in the nighttime church session. So yeah, I love you all, and I will see you all next time.